Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 41st episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers titled Rita, Seed of Evil. We begin this episode in a classroom at Angel Grove High where the teens are learning about gardening in science class. Mr. Kaplan is teaching this class for some reason, and then Zach regurgitates how trees are great for the environment. Mr. Kaplan leaves just as Bulk and Skull come in to make fun of the teens for planting stuff. Apparently it's growing with Billy's special fertilizer, by the way, which looks like cola in a bottle. Is Billy just mixing his poop with like water or something? Bulk and Skull try to say that they're better by showing off their plant, and Kim notices that there's a price tag on it, showing that it's a fake. Bulk and Skull wrestle, and Bulk ends up with paint in his face. On the moon, Goldar tells Rita that Squat will plant the seeds of Rita's octo plant, which will grow so large it'll wrap around the earth and pop it like a balloon. No worries, it's time for a planting montage with the first of many songs in the latter half of the series by the same guy who wrote the theme song of the series, Ron Wasserman. It doesn't fit this moment at all, but I'm sure they'll figure it out later. The Rangers are done and talk about how cool trees are and stuff before they leave to go get water. Bulk and Skull show up to steal the plants that the teens planted, but then Squat shows up and bumps into the two, freaking them out. They run away and hide in a porta potty for some reason. Squat plants Rita's seeds before the teens spot him, and before they can stop him from doing anything too weird, putties show up, and there's a cool little putty fight in the park. I will say, Billy is surprisingly better at fighting the putties now, which is cool to see. Talk about a slow burn training process there though. We check in and see that Bulk and Skull are completely lost in the porta potty before we cut back to the teens still fighting off the putties. We go back to Bulk and Skull to see that apparently Skull has to use the bathroom now. This is weird. The putties disappear and then there's an earthquake and the Rangers teleport to the command center. There, on the viewing globe, they see that the earthquake is still going on and Alpha is researching the cause of it. They help Alpha and Zordon, and Jason suggests that he goes to the park alone to figure out why Squat was there. He does, and while there, Zordon lets him know that they figured out that Squat planted seeds and he needs to get rid of the seeds before the monster blooms. He finds them and gets zapped before he gets wrapped up in a weird, wet, big vine, and it's pretty weird. He morphs. Red Ranger is honestly getting his ass kicked by vines, and it's kind of pathetic. In the command center, the other teens check the viewing globe to see that Jason is wrapped up, so they morph to the scene and free Jason. The seeds' energy field is somehow weakened, and they start to dig up the seeds, which is a pretty great sight just seeing the costumed Rangers with shovels. Scorpina and Goldar are sent down with putties, where we're treated to the same putty fight from the Green with Evil saga and no clowning around, interspersed with some new footage. Finally, the Rangers fight Scorpina and Goldar, and then Scorpina fires something at them and they're hit by Pine Octopus off screen. Oh, and Trini is just gone for a bit. Great editing. Rita's Octoplant finally puts us out of its misery and blooms, and before it can do anything, Rita just makes it grow. The Rangers call out the Zords before they bring them together to form the Megazord in the most drawn out process ever. There's also this terrible shot from behind the Rangers out of the Megazord's view. They're struggling against the Octoplant somehow because according to Billy, it's because she's most likely composed of vegetable matter? Whatever. They call on the Power Sword, which frees them from the vines that she wraps around them, and then she gets distracted by her own reflection, which gives them time to kill her. It's kind of random that she's vain, but okay. Bulk and Skull are still in the toilet, and they are taken away for some reason. Back at school, the teens show up to class to learn more about trees and stuff. Then, Bulk and Skull show up covered in literal crap, and they say that the porta potty that they were in literally got put into a dumpster. That's not how porta potties work. Their set knocks out Mr. Kaplan. The end. This episode is not a strong return of the Doomsday two-parter. It's a pretty generic episode that could definitely be placed literally anywhere before Doomsday. And hell, if Tommy was around, it could be an episode before he even lost his powers. Octoplant has zero ground footage, which is a bummer because all we're left with is Jason fighting off some random ass vines instead, but honestly, I guess it could have been way worse. Will things get better next time? Until then, may the power protect you.